In this episode, a small car with a big price, forklifting, and science. Welcome to episode 53 of the We Are Auto Show. How are you, Derek?
I'm doing fantastic. Mr. Michael Rao, has there been anything interesting as you've been out and about?
Yeah, I saw something really comical.
Okay, what was that?
So, I was sitting in a parking lot of a grocery store, and as I was sitting in the parking lot, I noticed a funny elderly gentleman, and he was attempting to open the door of a white Lexus RX 350. So you know the SUV, right?
Yes. You see them often around town.
Especially among the not young crowd, right?
That's a good way to put it.
And he was yanking on the door handle, and he was yanking on it, and yanking on it, and yanking on it. And I could see him like, what the hell is wrong with this thing? Why won't it open?
Was he trying to break into an RX 350?
Actually, kind of, yeah, because it wasn't his.
Oh.
He was trying to get into the wrong white Lexus. His white Lexus was parked about 7 spots further down the road.
Ooh.
And finally, I saw him like look up and go and look around like, oh, I could see the light bulb go ping.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, oh, shit, I hope no one saw this because I'm going to look an idiot as I'm just yanking on this person's door handle. Yeah, so that was really actually, I was sitting in my car and my jaw just hits the floor and I'm dying laughing. I don't think he saw me seeing him, thankfully for him, because I would have made him the most embarrassed man in the world.
Right.
But it was hilarious to watch this dude just trying so hard to open the door of the wrong Lexus.
I don't think I've ever seen that happen.
I've heard of it happening through just like a meme. Like,
right.
I watched a real life meme in life happen right in front of my eyes. And I was like, whoa, that just memed the world today.
Have we gotten to a spot where cars that we own have become so generic that we can mistake it for someone else's?
It appears we have, because that is exactly what happened. Is the bland Lexus SUV is easily mistaken by the bland Lexus SUV. That's why, if you're old, you put a little flower on your antenna.
Or like a sticker on your car somewhere, yeah.
So now with the fact that antennas are being killed off, does that mean more people won't be able to find their car, especially the old people that put like the little ladybug on their antenna? The little puffball?
Maybe. Because
there's always the little old lady that walks out and she's like scouring the land, right? Where's that little purple puffball on my antenna? Oh, I found it. I'm like way out there.
There's a reason my mother put a yellow lemon on the back of her RAV4.
Fair enough.
Which I will say, there's a lot of RAV4s out there, and when they drive by, every time I'm like, no lemon, not her.
I saw you actually not too long. I did spot you, and I was like, "It's Derek." And I saw the We Are Auto sticker.
Nice.
Speaking of stickers, if you want a sticker, hit us up on social.
For sure.
Feel free to send you one.
We will. We'll totally send you one.
So, you ready to get into some news?
Let's talk about some news. There have been some interesting things that have gone down in the world since we've last chatted about the news.
That's putting it very, very freaking lightly. Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Yes, which we'll get into some of that later.
We will.
To start out with some news that is more kind of affected with us here in the U.S. So, a long time ago, I spotted a car that I was like, whoa, I've never seen one that I think made, I don't know, was it Car and Driver or Motor Trend or one of them, like their car of the year. It was an EV.
You've piqued my interest.
It is a Lucid.
A Lucid?
Remember, I saw that Lucid Air like a long time ago, like a bunch of weeks ago. It was the same week that I saw like the Pagani and the Bugatti, and I was like, holy shit, I saw a Lucid too.
Yeah.
But there's some Lucid news. So the 2022 Lucid Air is now being recalled.
Uh-oh. That was fast.
Yeah, that was really quick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's being recalled due to, and here is a quote from Lucid Group Inc. You ready? So Lucid is recalling 203 2022 Lucid Airs because of the possibility that the front strut dampers were assembled improperly by a supplier. Lucid is not aware of any instances of strut damper failure in a vehicle. So Lucid is essentially recalling a bunch of their Airs to like proactively fix this like potential suspension issue.
It's still better than Tesla, and just rolling stop signs everywhere.
I would say it seems like EVs are being recalled a lot.
Yeah, but you kind of expect that with a new platform or new kind of vehicle, right?
But in theory, there should be less to go wrong.
In theory, yeah, there are less moving parts.
Right. But yeah, so apparently there's some sort of improper assembly by the suspension people. So that sounds like they're not taking ownership. They need to read Jocko Willink's Extreme Ownership, because that is just passing the buck.
Yeah, not a great look.
Apparently it's supposed to affect only about 1% of the cars.
Oh, that's
which
like nothing.
Seems like, but hold on though. So they're recalling 203 Lucid Airs. So does that mean 203 is the total amount of Lucid Airs, or is 203 1% of the greater number? Do you see my thinking?
Sure, yeah.
I think they've only made 203 of them, so they're recalling all 203, so that it hopefully doesn't get the 1% of those 203.
I don't know how many they've made. I'm trying to find it.
You see where I'm going with that like train of thought, right?
Yeah, their projected numbers for production targets for 2022 of this year is 20,000 Lucid Airs.
Well, then that would actually make sense. Yeah, so if 203 is the 1% of 20,000.
Okay, yeah.
But there's no way they've made 20,000.
No, that's the projection numbers for this year.
Oh, so to the end of 2022.
I don't have off the top of my head here a number of how many.
Because they haven't made a lot of them.
No.
There's only been a handful around.
Right. I wonder if they're more rare than the Rivian R1Ts right now. I don't know.
The more I look at them, the more I'm starting to appreciate the look of the Lucid.
Oh, yeah? You're starting to get... Are you a Lucid guy now?
I'm more Lucid than I am Tesla.
I can get behind that statement. The Lucid looks like a decent... Okay, let me ask you this.
It looks luxurious.
Would you rather EQS or Lucid Air?
Lucid.
Really?
Don't even have to think about that.
Why?
Because I don't like the EQS.
The Mercedes EQS.
I've seen them both. The EQS looks like fish.
But it's way more close, in my opinion, than a Tesla. Tesla's kind of odd.
Yeah, 100%. That comparison, Lucid to EQS, that is the correct comparison. Because they're both more luxury than sporty.
Mm-hmm.
Tesla, I'm not saying Tesla's sporty.
It's just not luxury.
It's just not luxury.
No, it's
Plus, I really much prefer the design and dash layout of the Lucid to any of the Teslas. Because the Lucid has like a traditional, more designed dash where you have like kind of the driver more of almost like a cockpit feel. Kind of like how the Porsche Taycan is, right?
Right.
That Taycan isn't just like the Tesla where it's just like a piece of plywood with a screen, right? Like a very long, flat nothing.
But
I don't really
the interior of the EQS.
I don't really like the interior of the EQS, and I know that's gonna make me seem like
an old dinosaur.
Yeah, I don't like that underneath the the EQS. I'm just not a huge fan of the interior. I know it's cool. I get it. It's all tech and futuristic, and you got 1,000 screens everywhere. But it's not the Starship Enterprise. It's a goddamn car. I want it to be a car.
I go quite the opposite. You know me. I'm the tech guy.
Yeah,
I would love the EQS.
You want screens on screens, but that has a big screen in the middle. See the bottom?
It does.
The bottom screen, right?
It does. It has a decent run, but it's not this. This is over the top.
That's just driving a computer.
There's like 5 screens in the dash alone. It's chaos.
Yo, dog, I heard you like screens. We put a screen on your screen so you could have screens with your screen.
Yeah, every person has their own individual like Siri or whatever it is. It's wild.
I prefer the Lucid over the EQS for sure.
Okay, I prefer the Lucid looks over the EQS looks, but the interior I would want EQS for sure.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the moral of the story is that they've recalled 1% of they've recalled 203 Lucid Airs because there's a suspension problem.
203. That does not sound like too big of a deal to me.
It doesn't, but again, that's to say that assuming they've made a lot more. I'm assuming that there's a hell of a lot more out west in California.
Yeah, I would assume that they're almost all out west in California.
With the exception of like 2.
Yeah, you're not going to find either. It's going to be like New York,
Miami, and then randomly once in Sarasota.
Yeah, but we always get one. We always get one of the newest, hottest cars.
Like the Rivian that I've seen.
Yeah.
It's like, where the hell did that come from?
Paganis, Bugattis. Like, we have one.
In pokey little Sarasota, Florida.
They're here. I don't know. All right, let's talk about something a little more serious, though.
Okay. I'm not a very serious kind of person.
I generally am not either, except when war breaks out. which
I
case,
suppose there's that.
we need to
right?
get a little more serious.
Yeah, I suppose there is that.
Yeah. So there's news coming out of Ukraine, and our hearts go out to the people in Ukraine, that supplies, specifically the supply of semiconductor grade neon. So neon is a gas.
Semiconductor grade
Yes,
neon.
I will explain this to you in
a
a
lot
moment.
of words.
Semiconductor grade neon. Ukraine supplies 90% of it to the U.S. And obviously you know that supply is probably going to become hard to get at if it hasn't already. And this is going to be a problem because it's going to start to hurt more of the chip shortage that we already had, which was causing all of the manufacturing problems across a lot of manufacturers already.
Oh, yay.
So, semiconductor grade neon is very pure neon gas, and it's used in the production of making semiconductors. So when they're taking a silicon wafer, which is those chips you always see on the news, and they're using lasers to etch little grooves in them, and then to put the electronics in to make gates that are like on or off gates. That's all computers are just on or off gates, or zeros or ones.
Okay.
When they etch that, they need a very pure environment to do the lasering in, and they have neon gas around the area they're doing the lasering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So the problem here is going to become a supply problem from Ukraine. Now, I suspect that we're going to get, I know that upcoming here, we're going to get a whole bunch of manufacturing facilities in the U.S. because basically everybody, once the chip shortage happened, they were like, all right, we need to build more facilities. Clearly, this is a problem.
Yeah, like obviously this ain't working. We're trying to get all these chips from out of country, and now we can't.
Now, I don't know if that will help us on the neon side, and I would suspect that we'll start to get the trickle down of all of the other parts that are needed for those manufacturing facilities to also start happening in America.
Yeah.
But this isn't going to be a quick thing. And the problem about this whole invasion is it was a quick thing.
Yeah, it just like popped off out of nowhere. Right.
So, yeah, not ideal. There is another thing that Russia supplies 35% of the U.S.'s palladium, or I think it's palladium. I think it's palladium supply.
I think that's how you say that, yeah.
Which is a rare metal to create more of the semiconductors. It's another rare metal that's used.
So
hopefully.
So it sounds like the two countries that we need to get stuff to make chips are fighting.
We need a lot to make chips, but they also happen to partake in that.
Yes. We need potatoes.
And we fry them.
Yes. That's what we do in America. We fry everything.
Yes. So I will be curious to see how this shakes out in the long run. In the short term, it seems like hopefully we don't get down the bad semiconductor path. Because we just got out of it.
Are we actually out of it, though?
We're way more...
We're on the other end of the... Yeah, the mountain is tipped and we're on the downslope, right?
For the very high-end computer chips and parts, we're pretty much out of it.
Really?
For the lower-end parts that are mainly used in like older manufactured cars, we're not quite there yet because most of the manufacturing is still trying to build up that little bit of supply that's remaining that's still in want.
Got it.
On the newer chips. But once they get all the newer chips supply figured out, then they will go down the line to the older chips. And they're like just starting to trickle down to the older chips at the moment.
Okay.
So this is not ideal because it will create a high demand for the new chips again, which will,
that would be not good.
in turn make, you see where it goes from here.
In theory, not great.
So, that is that. Is there anything else that we should chat about?
There is, and I'm going to pose you a question.
Okay.
If you had $100,000 to just go and buy a car, what are like your top 5 choices?
My top 5 choices.
Yeah.
How much Porsche could I buy for $100,000?
You could buy a lot of Porsche used. You could buy a lot of used Porsche for $100,000. For a new Porsche, you could buy a decent amount of Cayman. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
You could probably buy the Cayman GTS for $100,000 at this point.
I'll take one of those.
Okay.
I'll take you could probably get a Model S Plaid. You may not be able to get a Plaid.
Probably not a Plaid, but you probably get a Model S proper, like a proper Model S.
A pretty quick Model S.
You could get...
I'd buy an R1T. We talked about that last episode.
Yeah, you could do that. You get a Dodge Ram TRX.
I think I would get an older Aston Martin.
Okay. You could get like 2 or 3 of them for that.
Yeah.
How about another option? You ready?
Okay.
How about a Mini?
No. Wait, what? $100,000?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Sign me up for that like next Neverwary, because I don't want to spend $100,000 on a Resto-modded Mini.
A Resto-mod. What?
Yeah, apparently there's like a refit company, like it's called David Brown Automotive. They do some really cool like bespoke like Resto-modded, remade, reimagined cars, like you know how Singer does, right?
Yeah.
But apparently David Brown has come to this crazy conclusion to try and Resto-mod a classic Mini.
For $100,000.
For 100 plus, I should say.
Okay.
So 100 and then add the plus, because I saw some rumors saying 140.
What was the Singer Porsche we talked about last episode?
By the time you're in and done, you're about 2 million.
Okay.
But that is bespoke. That's 500 horsepower, 2,100 pounds, a proper driver's car. And it's a beautiful car.
So you're telling me it's not a British-made box with tiny wheels?
Correct. Let me tell you a little bit more about this $100,000+ Mini Cooper. It's the smallest car with the biggest amount of number.
That's a huge number. What?
Like,
You
is this
cannot
just like
possibly-
is this just like a giant like wrestler dude that's like 6'8" that's like named Tiny? Like, that's what I see here.
The mass of car per dollar? It's pretty bad.
Man,
It's pretty bad.
I love our random metrics that we find, right? So let me give you a little bit of information on this David Brown Resto-modded Mini. So David Brown they've struck a deal with a company here in Florida called Bespoke Imports Group to do a remastered Mini available for sale in the U.S. and Canada. So it's going to come with a 1.4 liter, so a 1450 cc. Yes, the engine is so small that we measure it in cc's. That makes a whopping 125 horsepower. Woo!
Oh no! You're gonna spend $100,000 on a car that gets 125.
It's almost
horsepower.
$100,000 per 100 horsepower.
Oh, or no, it'd be $1,000 a horsepower. Yeah.
Per 100 horsepower, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yikes.
Yeah.
Big yikes.
So granted, it's not a lot of horsepower, but it's also not a lot of car. It did not give me a weight. I wish it did give me a weight, because it must weigh 8 pounds, I think, maybe. 80 with a driver. I don't know. But it does come with, they let you get it with a 5-speed manual. It comes with 4-piston front brakes, so proper brakes. It's got like modified Resto-modded suspension, which we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
It does have modern tech as well. So it's got Apple CarPlay.
Okay.
I don't care about Apple CarPlay in a freaking Resto-mod.
In a Resto-mod?
It doesn't belong there.
No.
But for all of this magnificence,
Well, wait. Does it belong in a Resto-mod?
no.
Why? Oh, what is
Because-
a Resto-mod then?
A Resto-mod doesn't need to have Apple CarPlay. It doesn't need Siri. It needs a beautiful sounding engine.
But you're trying to take the car up to modern standards.
yeah, but
That is a modern convenience.
reimagined, I should say.
You
I
could-
wouldn't reimagine this with Apple CarPlay. I'd reimagine this with like more of an OEM feel.
Personally, I wouldn't either. But for the sake of the argument here, you could, in theory, argue that you want to be up to modern tech standards, and if you're going to spend $100,000 on a car like that, you would at least want to be able to Bluetooth it to your phone or whatever it is.
I suppose you're right. Well, but you don't have to have Apple CarPlay for that. You can just get a regular
Right.
stereo that does Bluetooth.
You could, but the convenience of Apple CarPlay would be nice.
Yeah, I guess
Whatever.
there's that. But you ready to hear how quickly this bucket of magnificence gets you from 0 to 60?
No, I'm not stoked.
All right. So in terms of comparison worlds, or in comparisons here, it's not going to compare to anything like, say, 911 or a Lamborghini Huracan or even a BRZ.
Oh, God.
It's almost comparing to a Prius.
Oh, no.
7.8 seconds, 0 to 60. For $100,000 goddamn dollars. Are you kidding me? What the hell is this? I understand it's small, so it doesn't need a lot of power, but
Oh, God.
it's 125 horsepower is not enough.
Man, is this like back in the 60s when they had 1 million liters but still couldn't figure out how to get more than 100 horsepower out of it?
I mean, it's almost, I don't know. This whole thing just seems
This is silly.
ridiculous. Yeah, 100
Who
plus
is
that.
this targeted at? Is this just Jeremy Clarkson, James May, and Richard Hammond? Are those the only 3 buyers of this car?
I think of those three, the only one that would buy it would be May. Because he is slow.
Yeah, but I'd also think that Hammond would because he's a small guy.
Yeah, but he doesn't like things that take 7.8 seconds to get to 60.
No, I don't think anyone does, except for May.
No, May does, yeah.
Yeah, except for May.
It's just so stupid. $100,000+ for a Mini. I get the reimagine the craftiness,
yeah, I
right?
get it.
But dear God,
I understand it, but why not 250 horsepower? Although I don't know if those little wheels could take 250.
it couldn't take 250, but if it had 175 horsepower, 150, 175, that would be the ticket.
How is it that slow though? That is slow.
That is not fast.
It's almost 8 seconds for a 0 to 60.
That's what I'm saying. This is
That's
almost
terrible.
like Prius level
Yeah.
slow.
Wow.
It just doesn't make sense.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
I think we're both in agreement that $100,000 is better well spent. I don't know, eating cow's liver. Do cows have livers?
Okay.
I think cows have livers.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they do. But yeah, so that's how I'd rather spend $100,000.
Agreed, my friend. Agreed.
So shall we move on then?
We shall.
Okay. So this past weekend there was the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg here, not in Russia. Dear God. That was not St. Petersburg, Russia. That was St. Pete, Florida, close to where we live.
Good catch.
Yeah, just thought about that. But at the Grand Prix, there is a kind of a support series called from SRO that is the GT4 America series. And we have a local team here, SRQ Motorsports, that does race that series. Mm-hmm. They field 2 separate BMW M4 GT4s, and these are the M4s before the new grill got ugly. So good looking cars. But some good news for them. They got first in class in their first race, and they got fourth in class in their second race. So really solid result from the local hometown boys here. No. Round of applause for them. Well done.
Round of applause for sure. It's always awesome to take the win in like basically your local track. This is a street circuit, so it's only run at a certain time of year, and it's mainly for the Indy cars is what they run this event for. And the SRO happened to be a supporting series, so they were done on probably Friday and Saturdays when they raced, is my guess.
I believe so, yeah.
A couple notables. There was an MX-5 Cup race that happened too, or actually 2 of them. One of them did have a rollover. Big yikes. Oof. Never good. Kind of rare to happen on a street circuit, honestly.
Especially with an MX-5.
Yeah, with a...
Like, of all the things to roll over. Like the stadium super trucks, sure, I could see that, but...
Right. And they used to have those there, and they used to put the ramps.
I remember watching that, and you'd be at the race, and you'd say...
Those are awesome.
Hucking those things.
But there was an IndyCar race, and that was the biggest race of the whole weekend. And Scott McLaughlin won that. Did you see that?
I didn't get to watch any because I was working, but that's exciting.
Scott McLaughlin is a V8 supercar guy.
Yes.
Yeah, and he came over to race Indy this year. Another notable, Jimmy Johnson did terrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's kind of funny to see a guy come from V8 supercars do really well. Maybe he's in a better team. He probably is in a better team, which helps. And then Jimmy Johnson comes over from NASCAR. Not doing too hot, I will say.
You know what? You mentioned something that I do want to touch on.
Okay.
You mentioned Aussie V8 supercar, right?
Mm-hmm.
I actually... Someone had commented on a post somewhere in social media, and it's about a series called Trans Am. Have you heard of Trans Am? I'm sure you have, right?
Yes.
Okay, so not to completely derail this conversation, but someone was asking, and they're like, what the hell are these cars? And these are the Trans Am TA2 cars, is what the class of car. And I was like, you know what? That's a good question. For someone that doesn't know,
that's a great question.
Let me explain what a Trans Am TA2 car is to those that don't know.
Explain what Trans Am is in the first place.
Well, Trans Am's a race series, right?
Yes.
So I don't know how else we could describe that. It's a race series that races road courses. Sebring, I think it races Road Atlanta. I think maybe it goes to Road America. It's Barber, all over the place, right?
VIR, yeah.
So some prominent road courses. But the way I described the Trans Am car, it's the TA2 car, was imagine an Aussie V8 supercar and NASCAR had a baby.
That's a good way to put it.
To me, that like when I see the Trans Am TA2 car, I'm like, that is exactly what it is. It's like the US version of Aussie V8 supercars mix in with a little bit of NASCAR. Mm-hmm. And that's the way I describe a Trans Am TA2 car.
That is a fantastic way to put it. Trans Am was actually founded in 1966. It's actually been around a
Damn,
really long time.
I knew it's been around a while, but I didn't know it was 66. Holy crap.
And it was originally sanctioned by the SCCA, the Sports Car Club of America.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So Trans Am has been around for a really long time. They do race older cars. I think you can still race somewhat new cars in it.
Yeah, you can.
And there's just a variety in there. There's like an SGT class, which is like a street GT, is kind of slower sports cars. Mm-hmm. Then there's a proper GT class, which has like modern Mustangs and stuff. You can race old school cars. You can race new school cars. It's all over the place. And it's a really not well-known series, but has very, very good racing.
Yeah, it is really, really cool. I honestly, I don't know why we don't talk about Trans Am as much, because it's a cool series.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just really, really cool. I mean, they've got, like you said, it's a variety of everything. You get the Aussie V8 supercar style cars, plus a cup car with, like, I don't know. I think they've even run like a random prototype or two in there too. Yeah. Like out of nowhere, like a random LMP3 prototype car.
Is it different? Is it far different than HSR, the historic sports car racing?
I think it is, because they have their own like type of car, like these TA2 cars we're looking at.
Okay.
Right.
Whereas historic sports cars if it used to run,
then it can
you
run.
can go run here.
If it run, then you can run it.
If it raced, sorry.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So if you're watching on YouTube, these are a picture of TA2 cars, which they are very they're very
it's
NASCAR.
Like NASCAR meets Aussie V8 supercar. Doesn't it look exactly like that?
Yes. Or a proper NASCAR road racing car, like just specifically for road racing.
Yeah.
Not any oval.
Yeah. No, we actually should talk more about Trans Am. I know they did have a race this past weekend at Sebring. I didn't really get to watch much of it, but we'll have to start getting more involved with Trans Am.
For sure. And maybe we'll add it to the website soon. Foreshadowing for something we'll talk about later.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right. Let's move on to some other racing news.
All right. What you got?
More interesting news from the debacle that's happening over in Europe.
Oh.
So we know that... What?
Okie dokie.
Yeah. We know that there are a whole bunch of things that are going on in Europe, and mainly Russia. There is a team in Formula One, and actually a race in Formula One that happens in Russia, and a team that's pretty much based in Russia, and things are not looking good for them.
Yeesh.
So do you know the team Haas?
I may have heard of one of the losingest teams that have ever lived. Yeah.
This is the current Haas car. This is the one that they just released, their new car, the 2022 car.
Yeah.
And you notice that it has kind of the flag of Russia along the side of it.
It just looks like a Russian flag, yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is actually a Russian flag along the side of the car. Not a great look at the moment at all.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So they went testing, and you know what they actually did?
What's that?
They removed the flag from the car.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I like it.
I kind of do too.
I kind of like that plain white. It's really nice.
It is. I don't think that they need the blue and red.
I really like the Haas livery without the Russian flag on it.
Mm-hmm. Now, this team is backed by, I don't remember his name.
The Nikita Mazepin's family.
His father, yes.
Yeah.
And his father...
The company, was it Uralkali?
Something like that. His father made a bunch of money through a Russian company. And right now, it's not looking so hot for them. Nor is it looking very hot for Nikita Mazepin, who is not a very good driver because his dad basically bought him the seat in F1, and he's well known for crashing a lot.
All the time.
A lot. So it looks like they are probably going to try to not remove the team, but remove the aspect that is the Russian side of the team.
And pretty much everything ties to Russia. It seems like Haas is going to just pull the plug on.
Yes, which includes the driver, Nikita Mazepin, which includes the financial support behind his father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I've got something to just make you ponder the potential future of the other Haas driver.
Who was that?
Mick
Schumacher.
Uh-huh. So are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
The last car that ran with a plain white livery was Michael Schumacher.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
And that's what started him on his path to success.
Really? I did not know that.
Could this be?
That's cool.
You see where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
Is this the past reimagined in the future with the young Schumacher?
I hope so. That's actually very cool.
Wouldn't that be cool? The last time a car ran with a plain white livery was his father, Michael Schumacher. And that's where Michael Schumacher essentially started his yellow brick road.
Was it like unsponsored white? Just dead white?
I think there was maybe a word or two, but I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
That is cool.
We'll see what the future holds for Mr. Mick.
We shall see, and we shall see what the future holds for Haas. And it seems like the future of the Russian GP is no longer as well.
As of right now, correct.
Yeah. The FIA did say we're not racing in Russia this year. Currently.
Yeah.
With an asterisk there.
Yeah, a big asterisk, right? So with all this talk of the potential Haas woes, that does open the door for potentially another team to come swinging into the mix.
It does.
So have you heard the rumors? And I guess it's not really rumors. It's more, I guess, confirmed at this point that there's a familiar name coming into F1.
Tell me more.
Andretti. The Andretti name is trying to come back to Formula One.
That is amazing to hear.
Oh, man, I'm super pumped about this.
Yes.
I am super pumped about this.
Mm-hmm. So technically, Haas is an American team.
Technically.
But it's basically a Russian team.
Yeah.
And nobody really perceives it as an American team, nor do they fly the American flag anywhere in that team.
Yeah, they tried to perceive it as an American team for like a half a season, and they're like, oh, yeah, this is getting us nowhere.
And I think it was more for business purpose to do it that way.
Yeah.
Andretti is an American team for being an American team.
A proper American team.
Yes.
Yep. I'm going to let my Patriot flag fly, and I am going to be a huge Andretti. What is their actual name called? Andretti Autosport? Andretti Global? Andretti Global. Andretti Global. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Michael Andretti, the son of the famous Andretti that we both know and love, Mario Andretti, he has put a bid in with the FIA to bring Andretti Global to Formula One for 2024.
That's fantastic.
It's freaking sweet.
A proper American race team. And they're going to have a big backing. Like, they're going to have a good run at this.
I think they could actually do it.
Yeah.
Like, they could do it.
They have proper engineering talent at that team. They have money to back it. They could make a good run at F1. Will they make a championship run? I don't think so. But will they not be dead last and crashing every race? Probably.
Correct. Have they said who they're using for, like, their, like, their power and all that?
From what I know, the engine manufacturer, and I believe the whole car manufacturer will be Renault.
Oh, Renault has had some success.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be amazing to see that.
I did see that they are already saying that as soon as the FIA makes their final decision, they've already got Colton Herta lined up as their first driver.
He's an IndyCar guy right now.
Yep, he is.
Good to have the open wheel experience. I believe he's a very good IndyCar driver too.
He is. He's won some races.
Really hope that this works. Really want this to work.
Yes, but now I've got a question for you. Do you think Andretti will prioritize Indy or F1?
That's a good question. Mario used to run in F1, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's my question.
I don't know.
Do you think that Andretti Global will prioritize Indy or will they prioritize Formula One?
Honestly, I kind of hope they prioritize F1 because I think there's a bigger market there.
So my thought process is, what do I want them to do and what do I think they do are two different things.
Yes.
I want them to prioritize F1 because it would just be amazing.
Right.
But I think they'll probably still be prioritizing Indy just because they've got such a long family tradition in Indy that they've already got a foothold there that I don't think they can release that.
No, and they're currently very good at Indy. I wonder how much, I don't know. Like, I wonder if they can put a lot of effort toward F1 and still keep Indy at a decent pace. And I suspect that the answer is yes. Because they kind of almost have Indy down to a science.
Yeah, they've got Indy dialed.
Yeah.
They almost don't even need to think about Indy. They just plug and play at this point, and
right.
As long as they have a decent driver with talent, they'll get results.
Yes.
So we'll see.
It's going to be amazing regardless. And it's not confirmed that they'll be in yet. But the bid is in, and there's kind of political pressure being played from the top.
Even, I believe it's McLaren's boss, Zach Brown, is like trying to pressure the FIA like, hey, we want this. This is good for the sport.
And from what I've heard, a bid to get into F1, it's not cheap.
No.
It's $200 million.
Is that what it is? It's
It's $200 million to start a team in F1.
$200 million.
Yes.
Oh my.
Big gulp.
That's chump change, I suppose.
For the Andrettis, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Cool stuff, though.
I think so too.
Yes.
So let's move on then.
All right, let's do it.
So all this talk about the drama over there in Eastern Europe between Russia and Ukraine has got us thinking about cars. Because cars are always on our brain, right?
That's what we do.
So in Ukraine, cars. What do you think were the best-selling car brands or car manufacturers in Ukraine?
The best-selling car brand.
What do you think Ukrainians really like to drive?
I've been out of the country once, and it was over to Jamaica. And I think one of my favorite things about going out of the country is getting to see all the other manufacturers.
Yeah,
because it's so
you get like a random Seat and then a Skoda, and you're like, what the hell is this?
Going from like here to California is not that different for the car manufacturers.
Correct.
But when you go out of country, things get weird fast.
They can, yeah. Like even in Canada, you have different models of Volkswagen and Honda that you just don't have here.
Yes.
They got like the Golf City. Like what the hell is a Golf City?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a smaller, weirder Golf.
Weird.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. So the brands over in Europe are way different than in here.
There's a lot
in
of
the
brands.
US. Yeah. You're talking about like all the VWs big,
all the French
Citroen,
companies, right?
Yeah, like Renault,
Citroen, Renault, Opel,
right?
Alpine, even.
Yep.
Jesus. All of them, right? At one point, even TVR and like all the other weird, obscure car brands.
Do you have a list of some of the top?
I do.
Okay.
If you had to guess, before I even tell you, what is the most popular manufacturer? What is the best-selling manufacturer, if you had to guess, in Ukraine?
I can tell you they're in need of a bazillion Toyota Hiluxes right now.
You know what? Actually, yeah, you're right. They do need, with the current conflict, they need a lot of the unkillable trucks.
Yes. But my guess would be like, I'm going to guess it would be between Citroen, Opel, and Renault are my top three in my head. And I'm going to go with like Citroen.
Okay.
Is going to be my guess.
So you're in the right ballpark because it is a French company that is the number one.
Okay.
So, but before I give you the number one, I'm going to give you the top 10 starting with 10.
Oh boy. Okay. Let's do it.
So I'm going to start backwards.
Okay.
So the 10th most popular brand in Ukraine is Ford.
Excuse me?
Ford.
What?
Right? I know Ford has a big plant in like the UK. That
Yeah,
does
they have
all
some
their,
presence in Europe.
They're like all their transits.
Or in the UK
and
specifically, yeah.
the Mondeos and all that they have over there.
There's some Mustangs over there, I think.
I think I think this is like the first year that they brought them. Like a year ago was maybe the first year they even were offered a Mustang.
I think you're right. You're right.
But Ford was the 10th most popular brand in Ukraine.
Didn't see that coming.
9th is Mercedes.
Did see that coming.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yep.
Right? And then 8th.
Although 9th on the list is kind of low.
It is kind of low, especially since I've noticed a lot of those countries really like Mercedes sedans.
Yeah.
Like that's just what you get is a Mercedes sedan.
Isn't like Qatar or something some country is where they ship all of the old broken down BMWs and Mercedes or
all
something?
of the old Mercedes go to I think it's Mozambique or something like that.
Yeah, some Middle Eastern country, I think.
So I think it's an African country.
Oh, it may be.
I think it's a country in Africa. I think it's Mozambique. Maybe Zimbabwe. I don't know.
And they just have
But it's like a sea of old Mercedes E-classes. It's like what?
Just Mercedes Service Center, but like run by the local people.
Yeah, they're fixing with like, I don't know, twigs and mud.
Yes.
Right. But Mercedes is the 9th most popular brand in Ukraine. The 8th most popular brand is a brand in that French realm you are guessing. Peugeot.
Oh, I should have guessed them.
Yep. Peugeot.
That's a good one.
Yep. And then I'll move on to the 7th.
Okay.
The 7th, this one comes out of left field a little bit to me. Hyundai.
Huh?
A Korean car is the 7th most popular brand in Ukraine.
How is Korean this? How do they get those into Ukraine?
I don't know.
Whoa. Okay. That's wild.
Yeah, the 7th most popular brand is Hyundai.
That is wild.
The 6th most popular brand in Ukraine is Nissan. It's a Japanese car. They're shipped everywhere.
Yeah,
that makes sense, right?
I understand that.
I would imagine to see those kind of things. The 5th most popular, Volkswagen.
I thought that'd be higher on the list, honestly.
It's top 5, so yeah, it's up there.
I thought that'd be top 3.
So the next one is going to probably shock you again. The 4th most popular brand in Ukraine is Kia.
Huh?
Another Korean brand.
Maybe all the Korean brands are just... I mean,
they're just way better now.
They have a big presence here in the U.S., but I'm surprised that they have that big of a presence elsewhere.
I guess they're just way better and bigger than they used to be. But yeah, the 4th most popular brand in Ukraine is Kia.
Kia.
Weird.
Over Volkswagen? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that was like a crazy out of left field.
Okay.
What? So the 3rd most popular brand, according to this study that we found somewhere.
On the podium.
Yep. The 3rd most popular brand in Ukraine is Skoda.
Oh, that's a good one.
Not good cars, but it is a good one.
Yeah. I should have said Skoda.
It is a good guess, but it's not a good car.
Very European thing.
Yes. So, and actually, Volkswagen does own Skoda, so that would make sense.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So, Skoda is the 3rd most popular brand in Ukraine. Now, the 2nd most popular brand. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
What did you just say they needed?
I said that they needed a whole bunch of Hiluxes, so Toyota.
Yep.
Okay.
Toyota is the 2nd most popular brand in Ukraine.
Okay.
Now, are you ready for the most popular manufacturer and car brand in Ukraine?
What has not been said? You did say it was French, right?
Yep.
Then it has to be. Is it Renault?
It is. Yep. Renault.
Yes.
Renault is the most popular manufacturer in Ukraine.
Huh.
Which seems odd because right now with the conflict, Ukraine needs a lot of vehicles that aren't going to break down. And Jesus Christ, that is not a French car. That is your Toyotas, maybe some Volkswagens, Nissans, maybe a Ford. I'm going to say not the
Everything
Renault.
but Renault.
Yeah.
Everything.
Like if your country is falling to pieces and being bombed, you don't want something that you're going to have to get serviced every 8 miles.
No, Renault's not the go-to.
Just saying.
Not ideal. No.
But yeah, so the number 1 most popular brand in Ukraine is Renault.
That is cool. And that was the top 10 best-selling car makers / brands.
Yep.
So that was, as of 2019, the most sold brands.
Yeah, I didn't see any data since then, but
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. That's
Very
cool.
interesting statistic, isn't it?
So, as you've been out and about, have you spotted anything that has been interesting or maybe European even?
Touche. So I have seen some things.
Okay.
The first thing I saw was something that made me scratch my head. Do you remember 101 Dalmatians, the movie from back in the day?
Maybe.
Okay. So you remember the crazy evil lady Cruella de Vil?
Yes.
Remember she had a Cadillac,
Yes.
right? On that Cadillac from back in the day, remember what kind of tires they would put on an old Cadillac like that?
White walls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about white walls making a comeback? Because the first thing that I spotted that was unique and made me scratch my head was a brand new, and I mean brand new 2022 Chevrolet Suburban on white walls.
Whoa. A Suburban on white walls.
A brand new Suburban on white walls.
How'd it look?
Weird as hell. Like a straight up, like, what kind of weird fusion mix is this of old and new?
Does it come like that from the manufacturer?
No.
I did not think
no.
so. Okay.
I didn't know you could even still buy white wall tires.
Yeah, I knew you could buy them because you can put them on older cars where it actually fits, like the old Cadillac Coupe de Villes, right?
Agreed.
Modern cars.
I didn't hate it because it was white. It was a white Suburban with white wall tires.
Okay. So
they were going for the white on white, right?
Yeah.
And it had chrome wheels. Well, of course. What else are you going to put with white wall tires?
Right.
But that was one of my spots, was a brand new Suburban on white wall tires.
That's an interesting one.
Very, isn't it?
That's almost a questionable one.
It is.
Yeah, that's
but it was so weird and obscure that I had to just throw it in there.
Yeah.
Now my next spot, something very interesting. I was going down the highway, so it whizzed by me as it was going the other way. But I saw a classic, like a proper original Volkswagen dune buggy.
Ooh. A beach buggy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are cool. Those are really cool, actually.
Like a proper beach buggy.
Yeah.
And it looked like Very unmolested, very stock. Like, you remember the Grand Tour special where they built the beach buggies and the dune buggies, and they had to like drive them across
Africa or something.
Whatever country in Africa. And like Hammond had the one that was all like off-roady. Clarkson had one with he like swapped in a giant V8, and May made just like the original unmolested, like just slow, boring but original. That's what I saw. The slow, boring original one.
Perfect.
It's so cool.
It would actually be fantastic to have around here.
Would you own one?
No.
Who owns a beach buggy?
Somebody who lives out on an island. When I say island, I mean an island with roads that you can get to normally.
So a Gilligan?
Like a beachy island. Where they live on island time. Do you know what island time is?
Jimmy Buffett.
Yes. Island time is well known for doesn't matter what time of the day it is. We're going to get there whenever we want.
Yeah.
Eventually.
It's Margaritaville, 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yes.
Every single day, right?
Yes.
But yeah, that was one of my spots. Really cool spots.
Would you own one?
If and when I get to the point of being like Jay Leno, where I have just a gazillion vehicles,
okay,
hell yeah. Until then, probably not.
If this was one of your gazillionth vehicles, I don't think you would ever drive it.
I would, yeah, I would.
You would?
I would make it a point to cycle it in.
Really?
I would drive like 2 cars a day every day.
Okay.
Just cause. I absolutely would. I would make it a point to drive 2 different cars a day.
I wonder how many cars Jay Leno actually drives in his collection.
Probably
not too many.
You know what? He is a car guy.
I
bet
totally
you he
agree.
drives more than you think.
I totally agree he's a car guy.
I bet you he drives more in his collection than you think.
Maybe.
I bet you.
Maybe. But I bet you he also has people taking them out weekly to
keep them alive.
Yes,
yeah.
To make sure the fluids are running.
And if you're wondering, Jay Leno, I'm hiring, or you can hire me. Yeah, I am available for that job. Just saying. So yeah, that's one of my spots, was an actual beach buggy, dune buggy, like a proper one.
Okay.
Next spot I had, which isn't really going to interest you much, but it's going to interest me a lot, was a Porsche 911 GT3 Touring. Silver wheels, and it did go by me, making a very loud and delicious noise.
Touring's a hardtop.
So it's a GT3.
Yes.
Without the wing.
Okay. Does it still have the vanes along the front on top of the wheels?
No, that's a GT3 RS.
Okay. RS has the... Okay.
Yeah. So RS has the extra stuff like scaffolding
so this
and wings
is
and
a
all that.
sleek
Yeah.
GT3.
So yeah, this is a wingless GT3. And the silver with silver wheels. Oh, that's a good spec. And it sounded modified because as it went by, it had a little more oomph to it.
Fantastic.
God damn, that's good. Oh, it's so good. It's like my ultimate, like, perfect daily sports car.
Solid.
Manual transmission only as well, by the way.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
As it should be.
Yep. So now the next thing I spotted, which I'm not going to call it my spot of the week, but it was the weirdest thing I've seen all week.
I love these. These are my favorite.
Freaking weird. So my wife and I, we were stopped at a traffic light. And at the traffic light we were stopped at, this is a traffic light at one of the most major roads in our local area here. It's a road called 301. So it runs north and south, and it is 3 lanes, both directions, 55 mile an hour speed limit. This is a major road.
Big road.
Yep. And as we're stopped at the light, we've got a red light. Cross traffic has a green light. A forklift drives by. Casually in traffic.
Going slow as heck, I'm sure.
I mean, he was pedal to the metal, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was like regular traffic, like 5 cars of regular traffic, a forklift, and then 5 cars of regular traffic. It was like he just blended in with traffic. It's like he wasn't even trying to like hide in the bike lane. He was like, oh no, it's got wheels. It's a car. I'm driving this bitch.
Wonder where he's going.
I don't know.
Wild. But I do love seeing those.
We're both just sitting there and both just kind of like stopped and looked at each other like, did you just see what the hell was that? Dude's just driving down the road in a forklift. Are you kidding me? Just in the lane as traffic.
Just let him do his thing. That's fantastic.
Weirdest thing I saw all week.
That is a weird one. They're rear steer, right?
Forklifts, yeah.
Man, if he's hauling butt, rear steer. A little sketchy.
I could imagine.
A little sketchy.
I would imagine that would be nuts.
Yeah. That's like going in reverse really fast in your car.
Yeah, and whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll snap on you.
That would be wild. But yeah, that was one weird spot. But now, are you ready for my spot of the week?
Sure.
So, my spot of the week goes to something that I actually don't even know. So, we live close to I-75, which is a very major highway, and a lot of auto manufacturers do their like new model testing on these major roads, right? So they'll just chug away miles up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down forever, right? So I was on the road and I saw a new pickup truck, but I don't know what it was.
Camo?
It wasn't camo. It was actually covered in like plastic coverings.
Oh, it was properly camouflaged.
It was like,
okay.
They covered literally everything.
Yeah,
they had covers over the wheel, like over the rim.
Yep.
They had covers over every piece except for the glass.
So that's in a lot of development then.
Yeah, that's like
Early
deep
stage.
skunk works of what is happening. Because it's not like, oh, because you can see like the photo camo that they have on cars, and you're like, that's obviously Toyota Tundra.
Yep.
Or that's obviously an Audi. I can obviously make things out. They had literally everything shut off. Like you could not tell anything.
It was a pickup.
It was a pickup. So my spot of the week goes to a car that I don't even know what it was.
Was it going the other way?
It was going the same way, but it passed me quickly.
Did it make a sound?
I didn't get a chance to hear it because I was on the on-ramp.
I wonder if it was EV or not.
I don't think it was EV. It may have been a hybrid.
Okay.
Either way, I don't even know what my spot of the week is. This is the first time I'm having a spot of the week that I don't know what it is.
I do like seeing those. There's
I
something
love
about seeing
seeing
those.
I will tell you, I saw a hell of a lot more of them in Colorado.
Really? The snow testing?
Well, high altitude testing.
High altitude testing.
Because you would see manufacturers testing literally every vehicle on, what was it, I-70? Yeah, I-70, which ran east and west through the mountains.
Yep.
So, I mean, you're getting up to 10, 12,000 feet.
Yep.
And they're just plugging away mile after mile after mile after mile. So I would see on a regular basis, I would see Audis that are being developed. I would see Toyotas that are being developed, Chevys that are being developed, random stuff. Like Singer was testing their cars out there too.
I would bet you they do different fuel mappings at different
All sorts of stuff.
different oxygen levels like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my spot of the week goes to something I don't even know what it was. An undercover pickup truck that maybe we'll find out in a couple of years.
You'll never know anyway.
You never know. But did you see anything?
I did. So I saw my first Tesla Model S Plaid when I was coming home the other day. Thought it was kind of interesting. It looked wider in the rear to me than a normal Tesla Model S.
So you know what? I gotta give my dad some credit here. He actually made this observation to me. He said that the back of the Tesla Plaid actually looks beefy.
It does.
And
That's what I noticed.
Have to agree.
Yeah.
The rear end looks like it's got some purpose.
Looks a little squatted and a little wider. Like it reminds
Like
me of like the Porsche.
Someone doing squats.
Yeah. Or like a car that's ready to accelerate hard.
Yeah. No, the Tesla Model S Plaid's rear end actually has a little bit more pizzazz.
It does. And then, that's not my car spot though, but I did see an EQS for the first time. And I know that you've seen one of these.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the EQS.
Okay. I know we mentioned it earlier in the show.
We did. But the side profile is what got me for a second. Because I pulled up next to it and was like, okay, it's a Mercedes. Wait, what is this? This is odd looking. And this car looks kind of goofy from the side to me.
The side profile?
Yes.
Looks like a blob.
It really does.
It looks like a fish that you pull up from the deep depths of like the Marianas Trench. That like it doesn't see sunlight, so it's just like this blobby thing that like it has to have a dangler fish to like. That's the fish that the EQS is.
McLaren makes their cars very aerodynamic, right?
Yeah, for a purpose, function, right?
Yes. They make all the downforce, they make all the swooshes and slopes and all that kind of stuff.
The stuff.
This is, it's not McLaren aerodynamic, but it is very aerodynamic the way they've built this car. It's very swoopy, but it's like bulgy swoopy.
It's a blob.
Yeah.
It's just a blob. It's a fish blob.
It just lacks, from the side profile, it lacks character.
It's like a puffer fish that didn't have spikes that was deflated.
It's a good way to put it. Never heard anyone say that about a car.
I mean, I grew up doing a lot of fishing. I've caught a pufferfish, and it just turns into kind of a blob.
But as we know, where you get the character is inside.
I still don't.
And when you sit in there, you don't see the blob on the outside.
So real quick, the picture that we're looking at has that like passengers display. Is that the picture they have on that display? Is that what future Mercedes are supposed to look like?
You know what they do with future cars. You know how this works.
It looks horrible. Looks awful.
An artist render of a future car is not at all what you're going to see of the car that finally comes out off the production line.
True.
Yes. So yeah, I'm sure that is some futuristic car they put in some press photo somewhere. But instead, you know what we got? The blob.
Yes. The blob of doom.
Yes.
So you saw an EQS.
I did see an EQS. I thought it looked kind of cool. It first confused me, and now I'm like, okay, I've seen one. They're meh.
They're very bland.
Very bland. But would love to drive one if somebody has one around. Or at least sit in one because I want to see all the tech.
Yeah.
And then I went to a car event, a little car show around town.
Okay.
And I think we'll probably talk about what was there next time. But there was one car spot that I want to talk about right now.
Okay. Do tell.
And it's going to be my actual car spot.
Okay.
This confused me when I went.
Oh my God.
This
You saw one of those?
Yeah. So me and the wife were going to the car show, and we were actually walking across the street to it. And this came around the corner and went parked way out yonder by us because we were actually across the street from the car show because there was no parking. And past us drove a car that initially I was like, what even is that? I know that's important, but I don't know really what it is or how important it is. And it was a Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren.
Yes, the Mercedes McLaren SLR. Yeah.
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 It was pretty cool.
Damn, dude. That's like almost Bugatti level spot.
I did not know how rare it was. Do you know how many they made?
I don't know the exact figure, but I know it's rare.
2,157 were ever produced.
So it's not crazy rare, but it's rare.
I mean, that's pretty crazy rare.
I would say it's
Across
pretty crazy
the
rare.
world?
It's not like one of those like 1 of 10 cars, right?
No.
But honestly, that is rare.
Yeah.
But that's also across each year of it because it was produced for a number of different years,
a number
right?
of different years.
So
right.
honestly, per year, yeah, that's super rare.
But if you compare that to the newer car that they make a ton more of those.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Honestly, it's crazy how rare it is. This was the first time. This is actually the Mercedes, the SLR, the McLaren. Mm-hmm. That's like, this was when McLaren first started coming into making cars for consumers.
Yes.
So this was before McLaren came out with the MP4-12C. They partnered.
Really? This was their first foray into it?
Yes. This came from Formula One. So this is back when Mercedes McLaren had their Formula One team with like Kimi Räikkönen, or was it? No, it wasn't like Räikkönen. It was Mika Hakkinen, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
I think it was Mika Hakkinen. So this is back when it was the Formula One, the West livery that they had on the Mercedes McLarens.
Okay.
Right? That's where the Mercedes McLaren SLR came from.
Okay.
So this was before McLaren ever came out and was like their own brand making, well, I guess technically the F1, but that was partnered with BMW. Either way, since then, this is the first time McLaren had come back and made a car like for humans, not race car drivers.
It was very cool to see. It's aerodynamic, but yet like kind of gaudy at the same time.
Yeah. Well, they designed it to make it look like an F1 car from the era.
Okay.
Do you see the nose?
Yeah.
Like the nose is supposed to simulate the nose of the F1 car.
And in the fins along the side of the car. Yeah.
Like they had real F1 car styling cues. And this is, when were these produced? Do you remember?
I don't have off the top of my head, but I do have some numbers about the power and some other numbers about the car. So this had a 5.4 liter supercharged V8.
Good engine.
Good engine,
like
making 617 horsepower.
That's a lot of horsepowers.
And almost 600 pound-feet of torque.
That's a lot of torques too.
It weighed just a tad under 4,000 pounds.
That's not light, but...
That's not light.
Yeah, that's not light.
It's not light. But it did allow for a 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, which in that era, not bad.
That'll shift.
That's quick.
Yeah.
That's quick.
That is moving.
Yeah. And then a top speed of 208 miles per hour.
Wow, that is quick.
It's a very quick car. These were made between 2003 and
I
2007.
was going to say early 2000s.
Yes, early 2000s.
Oh, so they made it up until 2007, and they still only made 2,000 of them?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So that does make that extraordinarily rare.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, dude.
That was it. I had never seen one before, and I knew when it passed me, I was like, that's rare and important, but I just don't know why or what it is off the top of my head.
I am super jealous that you've seen one. I've still not seen one in person. I've never seen one in person.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Definitely my car spot. And it wasn't even in the show. It was off to the side.
It's funny how some of the best stuff is always just like outside of the actual show.
It was right next to a red old NSX as well.
Hey.
Fantastic.
Man, that's a great spot, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a great spot. I love that. I'm almost a little jealous that you spotted that.
You do sound like you are.
Ooh, that's a cool. I've never seen one. I've always wanted to see one, and I've never seen one.
There's one around town.
Well, now I've got to be scouring the lands for it.
Mm-hmm. The next show that happens in that area, you better go.
I will.
All right. So we should get to wrapping things up here.
Okay.
Do you have an I wish they would have?
I do. It's weird, but it does tie with one of my car spots.
The weirder the better.
Yes. So my I wish they would have is that I wish you could select the color of your tire.
The color of your... Ooh.
So you know how they had white wall tires?
Mm.
That's what inspired my I wish they would have.
Okay, are you thinking white wall or are you thinking the whole
The whole
tire?
damn thing.
Oh, God.
The whole enchilada. Do you want a blue tire to match your blue BRZ? Have at it.
I kind of like that idea. I kind of really
It's
like
weird,
that idea.
but like I saw the white wall tires and I was like, that's weird. It's out of style. It's odd. But what if you could just have your entire tire be a different color? Like, what if you could order your Mercedes EQS with purple tires?
Certainly you could dye the tire rubber. That's not a problem.
In theory.
In theory. But what I question is how quickly would the rubber turn to a dark color? Because of just dirt and debris and junk on the road, right?
I don't know.
Or like would rain wash it off for you?
I don't know.
I wonder why they haven't done that. I've never seen a tire that's colored.
It's weird.
Have you?
Isn't it? No, I've seen like white wall tires like it's
Yeah.
all, but I've never seen someone be like, I'm going to have a red tire.
Why are tires all black?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
But yeah, I wish they would have. I wish you could have different colored
Neon
tires.
green tires.
Like, it's not one of my car spots, but I did see a purple Lamborghini Huracan today. Imagine a purple Huracan on like green wheels with green tires.
Yeah. And with like a different colored rim.
Yeah, and then a different color caliper.
Or a black rim with green. Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's just like
Holy moly.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
Right?
I like that one.
I wish I would have. I wish you could change the color of your tire.
I like that one.
Do you have an I wish they would have?
I do.
What you got?
Have you ever gotten into somebody's car, mainly you're the passenger, and you figure out that, you know, kind of nasty in the front, they got all the cups and stuff, and it's pretty gross, and then you look in the back, and oh, by the way, it happens to smell like you're in a gym locker room because the back seat is their gym locker room?
Fair enough, yeah.
I wish that cars had some compartment somewhere where you could either store your gym stuff and it wouldn't smell, or even just put a washing machine in the back seat, get a dryer back there.
Some sort of like deodorizer or something.
Something that could sort out the smell of nasty clothes. And you know how many people would use that?
A lot.
Actually, a lot.
Honestly, like, I would say I would really use that, especially coming back from the beach or something. Your swim trunks are a little wet, right?
Yeah. Put a washing
idea.
machine and a dryer, a little one, in the back.
So that's taking it a little far.
No.
Maybe instead of a washing machine and a dryer, just like some sort of like rack that like, or I don't know, a box.
A
that
sealed
just, like,
container.
yeah, that like spritzes a deodorizing spritzer thing.
I want to go all out.
there.
I want to have fresh,
You gotta
clean
have a
clothes
Whirlpool
by the time
or
I
a
get home.
Maytag, just a full on. Well, who's gonna fold them? Because that's the worst part about laundry.
That is the word. I wish that they would make a machine that would automate the process of folding clothes. How hard can it be? We have AI. We've been to the moon. How
so
hard
your
could
I
it
wish
be?
they would have is that I wish that clothes would fold themselves. Now, is that what this has just
It's
evolved
both.
into?
It's
Yes.
both.
Okay.
I wish that my car could wash them and fold them for me. And just open up the hood and here were fresh clothes sitting right on top of my engine. a clean engine as well.
Not one that you've spilled a bunch of oil on.
Okay, that's about it.
All right, so I guess that's going to be on that bombshell, right?
Yes.
So I guess that's going to wrap us up for episode 53. Thank you all so much again for watching and listening. If you're on YouTube, please make sure you leave us a 5-star rating. No, that's not YouTube. That's audio, right? If you're on audio, leave us a 5-star rating. If you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and drop a comment. Follow us on social if you could. Facebook is We Are Auto. Instagram is We Are Auto _. YouTube, We Are Auto. And TikTok is We Are Auto. And then also make sure you send us your I Wish They Would Haves and or any other auto-related news. We'd love to chat about it. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with us for episode 53, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.